Do I have to pay capital gains taxes on an inherited property in Massachusetts? Today we are going to talk about the financial strategy and tax implications around selling inherited real estate. I'm Craig Power with Power Realty Advisors, serving Greater Boston and the South Shore. This concern tends to pop up. You're considering or you're in the process of selling inherited property, but you're worried about whether or not you'll have to pay taxes on it and just what that hit will be. Let me try to advise you through that here. I need to say at the outset, I am not a CPA. I would defer to them. I am not a financial advisor. I am a real estate professional. And as you can imagine, this stuff comes up a lot with our clients. In case you need it, I have another video outlining the legal and sales process with inherited property. That may be beneficial to you. Here we are talking tax liability. First thing for you to know, I'm gonna get into the tax mechanism in a minute, but first off, remember, you don't owe taxes when you receive inherited property. It's not taxed when you inherit it. It's only taxed when you sell the inherited property. You may already know that, but I have been asked before. Okay, let's explain capital gains taxes. A capital gain, in its simplest terms, is the difference between what you bought a place for and what you sold it for. So if you bought a place in 2018 for $550,000 and you sold it in 2024 for $900,000, it's quite a gain, your capital gain is $350,000. And before exemptions, theoretically, you owe taxes on the difference. That's the basic capital gain explanation. Now in that case, the purchase price, $550,000, is called your basis. That's the starting point from a capital gains perspective. We call that the basis. Now let's say you didn't buy this property. Let's say you inherited it. As we get into inherited property, the number one concept for you to understand in all of this is called a stepped up basis. For the sake of this example, I'll keep it pretty clean. Same house, same timeline, except you inherited it from a relative in 2022. You did not buy it for $550,000 in 2018, so you are qualified for what's called a stepped up basis. Your basis, your starting point, now becomes the property's value at the time of inheritance in 2022. When you sell it in 2024 for $900,000, again, the simplified version of the equation, you are responsible to pay capital gains tax for that difference in value from 2022 to 2024. Next logical question to come up with is, how do we establish that 2022 value? This is where we get into the appraisal. Real estate properties are usually a big part of an estate, so establishing their fair market value is a big part of sorting through that. If there's any sort of a probate situation here, this can sometimes fall on the executor or personal representative to get an appraisal done. The appraisal can assign value retroactively, so it's not the value as of the date of the appraisal. It can assign value as of the date of death. We could get further into the weeds there, but that's what you need to know. They can assign value as of the date of death. Let's go back to the drawing board with that basic formula. Let's say in that same equation, the appraisal established the year 2022 value as $750,000. That's when you inherited the property. That represents your step up in basis. That's your new basis. When you sell it in 2024 for $900,000, you now have a capital gain of $150,000. So some strategy here. I've covered the primary residence tax exemption at length in other videos. Let me tell you how it could have come into play here. Let's say when you inherited the property in 2022, you moved in and you as an individual lived there for 2 years until 2024. Well, with regard to your capital gain here, you would be eligible for an exemption up to $250,000. Married couples are exempt up to $500,000. If you pulled that maneuver here, you would not owe $1 of capital gains taxes because your $150,000 gain from 22 to 24 would be covered. You'd be exempt. Where it gets more complicated, I've found, is with surviving spouses. As I mentioned, married couples are eligible for a full $500,000 exemption. In Massachusetts, at least, if a spouse passes away, the surviving spouse can get the full $500,000 exclusion if they sell within 2 years. Beyond 2 years, the way I have always known it, as far as tax strategy goes, when the first spouse passed away, that does trigger a step up in basis for the surviving spouse. However, it is only for their 50% interest in the property to that point. They get a step up in basis for their 1/2 of the property at that time. In these situations, I always want you to hear that from an accountant's mouth rather than mine. How much do you pay in capital gains taxes? I'm not going to get into the specific rates here because every time I do, something changes and the video is immediately irrelevant. If you've owned it less than a year, let's talk about short-term versus long-term. If you've owned it less than a year, it's the short-term capital gains rate. Over a year, it's the long-term rate. Now, I see so much garbage about, hey, I can show you how to avoid paying capital gains. Sell it for less than the basis. Give me a call. I'll help you out. There's a lot of this out there. If you go looking for it, listen to me. Look at me. Look at me. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Don't step over $1 to pick up a penny, okay? Don't step over $1 to pick up a penny. It's possible to go too far in an effort to save money and cost yourself much more in the end. If this video has been helpful to you, please get in touch. I'm a real estate broker in the Boston and South Shore markets. And when you consider the financial implications that go along with inherited property, you really want to navigate the process effectively. I would love to hear from you. We can help list your property and most importantly, help to maximize the returns for you. If you're in Massachusetts, but not in Boston or the South Shore where I work, please get in touch anyways. We have recommended agents we refer to all over the state, and I'd love to put you in touch with some experienced and knowledgeable people with this precise topic. Sometimes I can even work together and collaborate with them. I'll leave a link to our Massachusetts referral page in the notes below. Thanks for watching, subscribe to the channel, and contact me anytime, Craig@powerrealtyboston.com. Have a great day.